That's right. It's all about Eskom. We can tell you that it has been confirmed that Natasha Mazzoni's request from the DA for an urgent debate on Eskom has been granted in the National Assembly next week, one day after the maiden budget speech of Finance Minister Tito Mboweni. So that will be happening on the 21st of February. And one of the benefits of being in Parliament is that you happen to meet people. Mr. Mantashe, thank you very much for passing by. You're about to go into the House. What's your view on the Eskom issue, the crisis?
It is being attended to. Let me not meddle with it.
All right, thank you very much.
Doing it.
Thank you. Well, there you had the Mining Minister, Gwede Mantashe. One of the benefits, as I was saying, as being a parliament is that you managed to pass people who have played an integral role in not only lawmaking, but, for instance, the Eskom inquiry. Now, we heard that in Parliament for several weeks, several months, actually. And I have with me Steve Swart, who's an ACDP MP, who sat on the Public Enterprises Portfolio Committee. He was integral in cross-examining and speaking to people in that Eskom inquiry, the recommendations of which have all been given to the Zondo Commission. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're on your way into the House to hear the President's State of the Nation address reply to the debate. We sat for days and nights together, months. Machele Koko, all those names, Lynn Brown, Brian Molefe, Anand Singh, and we saw this whole architecture of state capture, the way it was made to look legitimate in order to loot and for money to be filtered through to a few people at the very top who had Gupta links, and how they moved across all those boards. You've given all those recommendations and all your hard work to the Zondo Commission.
Yes, indeed, and it was a very in-depth, in my 20 years of Parliament, this was the most in-depth inquiry I've ever participated in. And what was really great were we were allowed unlimited time for myself as a lawyer, for me to cross-examine witnesses, as you've said, for up to an hour at a time, was really remarkable. That evidence, in terms of our recommendations, was referred to law enforcement agencies and, of course, to the Zondo Commission. And today we hear that they will start delving into the Eskom inquiry next week. So they'll obviously be looking at some of the affidavits, some of the evidence that was presented under oath here in Parliament, and, of course, amplifying that, bearing in mind that there'll be lawyers there leading evidence, and it will be in a commission of inquiry, and they've given 3 weeks. I don't know if 3 weeks is going to be enough, and how far back they're going to go. Yes, we looked at state capture, but now we see the issues of corruption, of technical faults at Medupi and Kusile, and I think that also needs to be looked into, right back to the Chancellor House deals that were taken, Hitachi. All these issues need to be looked in now by the Zondo Commission. But what we as the ACDP have said, and said yesterday again in the Portfolio Committee when Minister Godhan was appearing before us and stating about the challenges that Eskom is facing, we said, why are we waiting so long to deal with these issues? How can the President be shocked and angry or shocked? How does he not know the situation? That's the first point. Secondly, for over a year now, I myself as a lawyer have been saying, why are we not seeing arrests? Why are we not seeing money being retained? There's enough evidence for the Hawks and the MPA to act. And we want to see action. We want to see people behind bars. We want to see the lights on. And we want to see that money retained and restored.
I think Pravin Gordhan said yesterday what you're seeing is the fallout from 10 years of looting and malfeasance, and we saw all of that come out during the Eskom inquiry here at Parliament. Just remind me, did you make recommendations to the National Prosecuting Authority for prosecutions to be made?
Yes, we did indeed. We asked that law enforcement, obviously we can't take action ourselves as Parliament. We recommend to the law enforcement agencies where there is prima facie evidence of criminality for them to take action. That is the same as the public protector did in her state of capture report, Advocate Thuli Madonsela, 3 years ago. We've seen no action in that regard, limited investigations, and it is surely time now for urgent action to be taken. And that's why we as the ACDP, we welcome the appointment of the investigative directorate within the NPA, the Scorpions-like unit, that is going to hopefully really investigate and bring prosecutions as a matter of urgency, and that needs to be be taken place, because people are saying, but we're sitting with the situation, people are walking around with impunity whilst every South African is struggling. Businesses are struggling, households are struggling as the lights are off, and we cannot continue on this basis.
And you gave the you gave the Zondo Commission of Inquiry the information, reams and reams. I mean, that document was, pages long. So you've helped them thoroughly. Thank you so much, Mr. Swart. You can go off to the House now. And one of the big questions I have, Kathy, is I wonder whether Dudu Myeni, who was implicated in calling one of the Eskom heads to a house of Jacob Zuma, former president, whether she will heed a subpoena, whether she will be subpoenaed. She told the Commission of Inquiry several times that she was ill and she was not available. There also were subpoenas sent out, or they tried to get the Gupta family to come back from Dubai to testify, as well as a few others who I think Dudu Zuma, the son of former President Jacob Zuma, he too did not testify before the inquiry despite calls for them to do so. So I wonder if they have stronger powers of subpoena and whether those people who, if they don't pitch up, will be subject to arrest.